Hi there. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Telegraph Beauty School in association with Ladies in Beauty. My name is Sonia Haria and I'm the Beauty Director of the Telegraph. We are here today with Katie Brindle, who is a Chinese medicine expert. Now, Katie, tell me, why are you, as a Chinese medicine expert, on our beauty school? I mean, what's the connection, do you find?
Well, I think it's an indication of where the beauty market is actually moving towards. I think probably, a few years ago, it was very much sort of based on a miracle in a jar. You'd buy it and it would have some key botanical and that's what you put on your skin. And then in came the rollers and people were getting used to kind of rolling something, but we're still on the external at this point. And I think what's happening with the beauty market is people are now starting to understand what Chinese medicine has said forever, which is beauty is the exterior manifestation of your interior health. And so therefore in I come, because as a Chinese medicine practitioner, we understand the body and how to look after yourself and to a really sophisticated level and how that manifests on the skin. So as part of that kind of whole self-care remit that we have, I'm able to introduce things like these gorgeous little crystals into your beauty care routine, which are going to start working from the inside, giving you gorgeous results on the outside.
Hi there. You can hear me? I can hear you, right? Okay. I think I just processed.
Yes.
That's great. So that's so interesting because do you feel like by ultimately spending a bit more time on your kind of body care, your self-care, which has been a massive market grower in the last 12 months, especially in the pandemic. I mean, I feel like we're kind of focusing a lot more on our kind of internal health, much more in the last 12 months. In which ways can you kind of help to invigorate the body? And I know we kind of talk quite a lot about circulation, and your work with the gua sha is great with the kind of lymphatic system. But if someone was to introduce kind of one thing for 1 minute every day in their routines, what would you say? Can you make an impact by just doing a little bit every day?
Yeah, massively. I mean, goodness, the whole ethos of my brand is 1 minute to self-care, because really, I think what we need to understand as a society is that we have totally taken on board brushing our teeth every day. This is normal. This didn't used to be normal. Okay, I remember my grandmother had dentures, and she was 60 odd when I was little, and that was normal. But it's not normal anymore. And because we've understood that if we do that little practice on a daily basis, not only are our teeth going to look good and feel nice, but we're safeguarding them for the long term. And really what my mission has been since the beginning is to take that concept and to transcend it throughout the whole body. So when you're doing 1 minute to self-care, you're doing a gua sha crystal for your face in the morning, 1 or 2 minutes, in the evening, 1 or 2 minutes, and then a body technique to do the same thing. So whether that's a tapper or a jade comb or a body restorer, any of these techniques are there to work into your routine, just a couple of minutes of tweaks here and there to make a massively profound difference to how you feel at that exact moment in time and also for the long term.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been using Body Tapper myself, and in the morning I find it hugely invigorating. I mean, is it providing any cosmetic difference as well? Like, will it help with cellulite? Will it help with bloating? I mean, what are the kind of positive side effects essentially from using it?
Well, the thing is, when I've studied, I've been studying Chinese medicine now and studying and practicing for 20 years. Believe it or not, I have. And everything, beauty, feeling, body, prevention, wellness, everything comes down to circulation. It all boils down to that. And trust me, I've got so many books, so many hours and days and years and months spent studying all the ins and outs of all the different things. And it all just comes down to that basic principle. You've got to move everything going, okay? So what's going to give you benefits on the inside in terms of how you feel and benefits on the outside in terms of how you look is one of the same thing. It's not a sort of separation of, oh, I'll just put some botanical on my cellulite and rub it in and that will do the trick, and then maybe go and do a bit of dieting and a bit of exercise elsewhere. It's an integrated approach. Cellulite is resolved by good circulation. So tapping, for example, let me just grab it. Tapping is so good because not only is it kind of, it's a conversation piece, let's face it, because it's a bit different.
It's great.
We could talk about this for hours, but you know, the minute you start percussing your body, you're invigorating circulation. You're moving lymph, you're moving circulation, you're energizing the cells, you're moving the energy inside the body, and you can feel it. It's not like you buy it and try it and go, oh, it's an instant feeling. Just like when you brush your teeth, you can feel it working on your teeth. And then you're going to get all these amazing benefits as well. So it's going to give you the energy in the morning. If you percuss in a vigorous way, it's going to wake you up because it's that the kind of energy. And in turn, you're going to improve the circulation, flow through the lymph, flow through any kind of stagnation. The one thing that we say in Chinese medicine is stagnation is death. Now, okay, that sounds really melodramatic and it really doesn't have to be like that. But what they mean is you don't want that happening. You want things constantly moving. Then the body systems are working. And then you're going to get these amazing aesthetic benefits. Toned skin, elasticity, that chicken skin here will go. You'll get the bingo wings will reduce. Any sort of stubborn fat or wobbly bits that you'd rather not look at will start to recede. And it makes you feel good. And the other thing about the tapper is not only does it do all of that if you do it in the morning, but if you now tap at night slowly and gently and slow the process down, then it becomes a soporific technique, which then starts to induce relaxation and sleep, all in the same product.
Amazing. And how is it different from using a dry body brush? Because dry body brushes, many people have kind of may have in their bathroom cabinet. Does it work on a different approach, and does it have better benefits essentially? I think body brushing has its place, but I personally think that the tapper has a wider benefit because you can use the tool in different ways. So the first thing to say is that you can use it like a body brush because you can just brush your body. With the tapper. So aside from the fact it's going to work in the same way, it goes deeper because the minute you start percussing yourself, so when you're body brushing, you're working on lymphatics. Okay, you're working slowly and you're moving the lymph. The minute you percuss, you're snapping and it's a different energy. You're vibrating. Okay, you're energizing. Even if you just clap your hands, you can feel the tingles of the cells. You're energizing and waking up. So you're moving chi, you're moving blood. Okay, you're moving things around the body, you're energizing, you're restoring. And the tapper can be used in different ways, not only in times of day, but on different parts of the body. So for example, one of the things I love about the tapper is its shape. Now I know everyone looks at it and goes, what's this conversation piece? But one of the biggest benefits is it gets to this bit. Yes, I noticed that. And also on the shoulders.
I mean, you know, how are you supposed to get there with the brush? It won't reach. You need the long bit. Also, if you've got impaired mobility, okay, let's say you can't move very easily. I have lots of people with impaired mobility have messaged and go, gosh, this is a lifesaver. You can reach, look, it's the length of my arm. Yeah. You can reach your feet. If you're sedentary, you can't move, or you're bedbound, you've got long COVID. There's so many examples of people that aren't leaping about. You can just reach your feet and you can tap all of these extremities. So you're getting to the nooks and crannies of your body that possibly a body brush simply wouldn't kind of quite get to, aside from the fact that you're working on a much deeper level when you're moving the chi and the blood, which is what this product does. And the other thing I love about the shape is because it's so long, that if I'm, say, tapping across my chest, I've covered the entire area in 3 strokes. So it's very time efficient, which I've learned with my brand, because we came in on the 1 minute to self-care because people only have a minute. There's no point me giving you some technique that's going to take 15 minutes first thing in the morning. I wouldn't do it. I haven't got time to do that. I need products that are going to live in my bathroom and work like a toothbrush. Here we go. Back to the toothbrush.
I mean, it's that whole kind of integrated approach that, you know, by helping to move circulation around your body, you're having all of these excellent benefits almost as a bit of a side effect, aren't you?
Yes.
So if you want a really sort of targeted approach to something like cellulite, is that when you'd perhaps get in with a few more of your precision tools?
Yes. The first tool that when we go into the body, I always talk about the comb, okay? Because I find it really satisfying. Because the usual semi-naked situation. It's like the dance of the seven veils when I go on there, honestly. It's ridiculous. But the thing is, I love the comb because it's really invigorating. So when people go, oh, you can't get rid of stubborn fat, it's not true. It's not true. You can. Stubborn fat, as I say to my ladies when I'm on my lives, it's not fat, it's trauma, okay? It's trauma. We're holding things in the channels of the body, and then the fat envelops it to protect the body, because the body doesn't want that circulating around. And we don't have a kind of fats, what am I trying to say? Fat cells just reduce and increase. You have a certain number of them. They don't sort of disappear when you go on a diet. They just shrink. And then if things go a bit like after Christmas, they kind of expand a bit. So, and then sometimes what you find is, according to your body shape, which might have a little bit to do with genetics, but it's often to do with your life, just what you've had to endure, your pain, your suffering, the loss, the awful hardships. And we often don't express these emotions very easily. We push them into the body, and the body goes, oh, all right, so you're not expressing it. Right, well, I'll just shove it in the thighs then, because the spleen channel goes there quite nicely. And then what you can do with the comb is simply in your shower or on the bathroom mat with a little bit of oil. I like the shower because it's convenient, because it's a moment in the day when I'm there anyway. And sort of, I'm one of these people in the shower, I get a bit bored after I've washed, but I'm like, well, what are people doing here for so long? I've sung my song, I've done my washing. So I get this out, and then I'm doing the sweeps, which is convenient. So I'm on the back of the arm, really, really good. This top's not perfect, actually. It's really good for that chicken skin bingo wing bit that you've got going on here. So you just press stroke over the arm like this. And you just do about 6 little sweeps like that. And what you're going to notice is a very low level flush that will start to appear that feels invigorating, totally conducive.
Great, yes.
Oh, it's in the morning when you go into the shower and you need to wake up. That's exactly what you want your body to do. You want it to wake up. You want to feel that zesty sensation. And then you can take it then down the middle here. So taking it across here and across the wobbly bits down here, over the bum, down the thigh, and you're following the channels of the body, hitting all of those kind of cellulite areas, and basically moving that all-important blood and circulation, drawing the circulation through, clearing the channels. So in Chinese medicine, we call this dredging the channel. It's such a great expression. It's like, oh, it feels like it just, and I promise you, within literally a matter of days, you will start to see a massive difference. It's such a good tool. I'm so proud of it.
That's incredible. So is this the sort of tool that you don't need any extra products with? You can use in the shower with water. So water is enough of a slip.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything in my brand seems to take place in the shower, including my live feeds at the moment. It seems to be I have to literally physically stand in the shower now, which is fine. But yes, even the jade crystal on the face, I always suggest. What I don't want to do is come into an already thoroughly comprehensive market with yet more stuff. I want to come in with the bits that you don't have. So most of us have beauty oils or cleansers or toners and things that we've already attached ourselves to. We like them. So I always say, okay, great. Cleanse, tone, moisturize, gua sha. Okay. Stand in your shower, comb, come out of the shower, get yourself dry, tap. And you've only added 3 minutes into your morning routine. With that, you have energized. You have taken about 10 years off your face, and you've dealt with your wobbly bits. And I'm thinking, okay, that in terms of time efficiency, I'm happy with that. I do that every day.
That's amazing. And so you, how often would you need to do this to see a difference? Would it need to be every day?
Yeah, it's a daily thing. What you'll notice, if we take it back, say, to the face, is when you first do facial gua sha, what you'll notice for the first minute you ever pick up a crystal and start going like this, which is the first thing you're going to do, you will look radiant. You will look like you've had a really lovely fresh walk outside or a really good night's sleep. That's the very first thing you're going to notice. Okay. And then after a week, you'll start to notice your skin just starts to improve. Just the radiance, the vitality, the elasticity, the expression lines will sort of start to recede. Just everything kind of looks lifted and plumped. It starts to, and the kind of comments we get is people say, my skin's reversing. And it's an ongoing benefit, like brushing your teeth. With the comb, you will notice an invigorated feeling in your body. You will feel energized straight away. And in my opinion, that is already, given that most people are exhausted, I used to be. So now you wake up and you're like, right, I'm ready to hit my day. You know, and I'm sure my day is the same as everyone else's. You know, a lot going on in our days, and I'm ready to deal with it. And then after a very, very few number of goes, like maybe 2 or 3, you'll start to notice skin tone improving. Then you'll start to notice the cellulite receding. Then you'll notice stubborn fat is starting thinking some old pair of trousers that couldn't go on before are suddenly slipping over your thighs that little bit easier. The odd sneaky bit of cheese and wine on a Saturday night doesn't seem to cause so much havoc as it did before. That's what you notice, and it's really nice.
That's brilliant. And also, you know, the fact that it is low impact, it's one of those things that pretty much anyone can kind of work into their routine. Is there anyone that shouldn't be tapping or, you know, using the comb?
Yes, there are contraindications to everything. You know, there is no miracle in a jar, in my opinion. There is knowledge and there's understanding, and then there's use of product. So, for example, if you have many broken veins on your face, or acne, or active moles, or broken skin, or varicose veins, or thread veins on your lower body, these are all contraindications. Okay, to gua sha for a start. When it comes to tapping, you can't really do much there either, but what you would do is use the tapper in this gentle way. So you wouldn't be vigorously tapping, you'd be using the tapper very gently. And then what I suggest you do is what we call the grain of sand therapy, which is what we recommend for the very elderly, is that you don't want to go steaming in there and going crazy. In fact, we were talking about this earlier, just saying you've got the tool forever. So you really can take it extremely gently. It's not running away. You know, it's not costing you £50 an hour. It's just you've got it for good. So you just lightly, like this, super gently, like a grain of sand. And it's really lovely and relaxing and just soothing, and just take your time and go softly. I had a lady once who was so ill when I introduced her to the tapper. I mean, she literally had to have a carer come with her to this is back in the day when you actually saw people. And she came in with her care worker because she had to do the whole consultation on my sofa. And I taught her care worker how to tap her like this. And within 3 months, she was driving, she was back, she didn't need her care worker anymore, she was fine. She couldn't believe it. Wow. Just by doing that multiple times a day, slowly. And then we built on it, obviously, with acupuncture and things, but that's how it works. So there are a few contraindications. They are all clearly stated on the website if you're not sure. Okay, great. And what about this tool? So we've got a third in the collection. Is this for a bit more targeted, or when would you use the body gua sha? So the body gua sha starts taking it much more to the interior. Okay. So when you're dealing with a lovely soft crystal like this, no, there's a thicker one, hang on, like this one, you'll know when you pick it up, it's quite thick. Yes. It's quite soft, almost feels like sort of soapstone. It's a very gentle energy. Now, what's this doing? Now this, you'll notice, is a much thinner, slimmer rounded edge. It's still rounded, but it's a lot slimmer, and it's made of metal. So it's a very dynamic tool. And again, the reason why it's been designed like this is because it's designed to work in a minute. That's what the brand is about. So this is based on body gua sha. Now, body gua sha has been used for thousands of years in Chinese medicine to treat incredible numbers of illnesses. So body gua sha has been used for clearing heat, which is basically our explanation of sort of inflammation. It's a bit loose, but that's it. But it's also incredible for pain. So if you've got, for example, tension in your shoulders or stiffness in your joints, body gua sha is the go-to mechanic. So body gua sha is also really good for sleep. All right. And the final amazing benefit is it's really good for contouring and sculpting the body because it's deeper. Okay, the comb is going to give you that light, invigorated, kind of waked up feeling with a nice little bit of cellulite boost at the same time. But when you start using the body restorer, you're really working deep into the circulation and the lymphatics. So it's going to bring up a deeper level of red, which is that sha, which is what gua sha means. Gua sha means press, stroke, flush. Okay, or even stroke rash, which is kind of things that the language has got more nuances. So we have multiple words, whereas they have one. But that flush is what you're going to see on the face. But if you've got, say, really tight shoulders or an old injury or really stiff fingers, what you'll notice when you do it is it will come up much more red, because the tool has been designed to work. But it's super effective and very, very helpful on many levels. I personally don't recommend starting with the body restorer if you're new to the whole thing. The way I recommend is start with the face, see the difference, get confident and go, wow, look at that. Then move to the tapper, because it's easy to use and it gives you that sensation of what you're after. And then once you've got your head round these 1 or 2 minute techniques, then go into the deeper practices, because then you'll be used to the techniques and used to how it feels, which is always that's how I think we should, that's the program.
That's your progress. Great. Oh, that's fab to know. So again, so this should be only used if you've kind of done the steps up, almost kind of from the tapper, then the comb, and then this tool.
Yeah, I mean,
now if
that's me giving you.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say. So if you don't have one of these. Last week you showed me I've seen a great at home. Is there anything at home you can use?
Yes, there is. Gua sha, traditionally, she says, reaching over here, you can use a jam jar lid. You can, and this is a really useful technique to just try at home, not on your face. If you've never tried a crystal on your face and you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure, then try a porcelain soup spoon, which I don't have to hand actually, which I'm sorry, that was a bit remiss of me. But you need a porcelain soup spoon, like the ones you find in the Chinese restaurants. That will give you the gist on your face, okay, for free. Because one thing that I will say to people is be really careful where you're buying crystals from. Just work with brands with authority, because there's a huge amount of issues going on behind the scenes, which we are really adamant about sorting out. But cheap crystals are often fakes. There's a price for things to be done correctly. So if you're thinking, well, I'm not sure, you're better off with a porcelain soup spoon. On the body, the rounded edge of a jam jar lid will do the trick. Now, it's not going to give you it's not going to work as well. It's not the right shape. It's not the right metal. It's not the right lots of things. But just to give you the gist of taking something and putting some oil on your chest at night and press stroking over your upper chest and over your shoulders to assist sleep and ease any shoulder tension, for you to get the knack and go, actually, do you know what? She's right. This is incredible. This scrapey thing is really good, which is what we've had husbands call it and things. But try that. And then get your confidence. You won't want to stay with the jam jar lid for long, because it will feel unsatisfying after the beginning. But it's a really good way to start.
Oh, that's so handy. And which direction would you use it in? Are you going towards the heart? Are you going kind of away?
Yeah, away from the heart, like this. Actually, that just feels just weird. Sorry, I'm going to go back to this.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, sorry, I think I'm a bit long in the tooth for a jam jar lid now. I think I'm on this. So away from the heart. If you've got tightness here, because a lot of people do, by the way, we are, as a culture, very tense, because we spend a lot of time going like this with computers and iPhones and driving, and we then go, oh, I've got to open my chest, and then it goes back like this. So when you've got the double nuance here, you can go in between the ribs like this and just really get in there and open it up. Feels really good. It's like, oh, just doing it over my clothes. And then over the shoulders like this. And that's pretty much it, really. The rest of it you can just do according to, for example, if you've got, say, an elbow pain, that's quite a common one. You can just take that double end and you're just flicking over there. It doesn't really matter which direction you go, and you just want to get in there. Fingers, it's more natural to go down. Going up feels weird. So, but the idea of these tools is that they're ergonomic. They're designed for you to just pick them up, a bit like an iPhone, and you can just sort of work it out. You just sort of go in there and go, oh, okay, yeah, okay. Oh, that's a bit sore. Oh, let me go in there. And it gives you that lovely massaged feeling, which is what's so nice, as if you've been to a spa and had the most amazing treatment. Like, oh, that lovely sort of grateful, easing feeling when they've got in there and think, oh, it's so good. And it's so simple, it doesn't need batteries or charging. It's just this ancient technique that served billions of people for thousands of years. And we just didn't know about it.
Well, that brings me on really nicely to your own personal journey.
I'm going to assume I know the question that you've just asked, which is how did I go from that to that? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I will explain. Show business, folks. Okay. So let me just explain. This is an interesting story about getting in shape and having babies, okay? Because basically I had what they call secondary infertility, which was after conceiving quite effortlessly my first baby and thinking, oh, great, fine. And actually being, by my friend peer group standards, relatively young. I was only 31 when I had my child, which I was the only person in my friend group who had a baby at that stage. Then when sort of, you know, plans for number 2 came along, sort of nothing was forthcoming, and then you go into, and you off you go. And it turned out that I had what they call premature ovarian failure, which is basically when your ovaries just, there's no more eggs. And so I had donor eggs, and I was very blessed and very lucky, and it worked, and I got twins. So this photo on the left is the photograph of me the day before I gave birth. And the only thing about that photo, whilst it's absolutely astronomically ginormous in terms of what I look like, it doesn't actually make me look quite as colossal as I was, because my bump was so big. I actually didn't look that massive in comparison, but I was actually at this stage 20 stone. And I used to weigh 9.5, sometimes 10 at Christmas. But, you know, basically I was fine. I was 5'7". That was about the right height. And I was very, very sick throughout the entire pregnancy. I couldn't keep any food down whatsoever. I had to lie in a dark room for about the first 6 weeks for a start before I even got started. So there was nothing to do with what I ate. Okay. And then I gave birth, breastfed, did all the rest of it, and ended up basically looking, by the time I'd finished with that, plus the Western concept of sort of calories in versus calories out, I got to the middle picture, which is what I looked like. And that was 13.5 stone, which was like, that's perfectly fine, but it wasn't what I used to be. And I wanted really to feel kind of, you know, my old self, because it's just kind of what I was used to. And that was really when I discovered the next kind of level of Chinese medicine, because at this point I was a practicing acupuncturist. So I was kind of in clinic, but my knowledge of self-care was nothing like as comprehensive as it is now, because there's, you know, a lot of studying to be done to know all this stuff. And really the final picture was really to show you what I look like when I, you know, by applying all the techniques that I'm talking about. This, you know, and okay, I was being relatively strict at that particular point, but not ridiculously so. But, you know, I was applying the techniques on a daily basis, you know, to the letter, and being pretty fastidious about it, and got myself back. And the reason I think we wanted to show these pictures was to say, you know, I'm no genetic goddess. Okay, I'm just me, just living my life, doing my thing, and I've ended up in this position. But I had to find the techniques to work. And I think if you can see, you know, a woman that basically doubled in size during the course of 9 months, and then how I managed to reduce myself back down again, I offer that as a picture of sort of, you know, hope and inspiration to anybody sort of wanting to deal with any situation in their body, to say it is achievable to get yourself back, and you don't have to suffer in the process, because I didn't. I did in the middle picture. The calories in versus calories out equaled Cambridge diet shakes and, you know, excessive exercise and all that. And it didn't get me any further ahead than that. Whereas the one on the left was this lovely harmonious approach to my lifestyle using these techniques.
So were you using all three, like versions of all three of these types of tools throughout to get to picture 3?
I was using the tools, every single tool that I show you, every tool in my range, I use every single day. I refuse to, nothing is coming out of my brand unless I have used it in my bathroom religiously for 3 solid months and never skipped a day, because I can't cope without it.
Yeah.
And I can assure you there are so many tools in this very room which will never see the light of day, because oh no, okay, I'm not doing that. It might have worked back in the day, but it's certainly not passing the litmus test now. And I've had some very funny live feeds showing people some of the weird things that I got excited about. And then, you know. But what I also did was qigong. And that's the other part of this. It's really, when you're doing these techniques, it's like an iceberg, okay? The beauty and the aesthetics is like the tip of the iceberg. And then you've got the deeper practice underneath, which is actually, if you just give yourself a few minutes each day, perhaps half an hour on some days, an hour on days when you've got more time, then these qigong practices are quite brilliant. And what then happened was, from that knowledge and learning that, I was practicing qigong on a daily basis, and it blew me away. I mean, it worked when all these other exercises I tried, you know, in my, including yoga, I'm afraid to say, I mean, it didn't work for me. I know it works for millions of people, but in my poor old little body, I did yoga and it didn't, it got me, that middle picture was where all that got me. And then I discovered qigong as well as these practices, and that is what nailed it. I mean, and it really did. And I know it's done it for thousands of other people as well, because there's lots of people saying so now.
Amazing. So it's almost a Chinese version of yoga, to put it very.
No yogi would ever let me go yes to that question. It's yes. It's basically slow, measured exercises with slow, relaxed breaths and doing these lovely stretches. And what you're doing with qigong is you're strengthening the body from the inside, which is giving you that lovely sculpted, defined look on the outside. It is not calories in versus calories out, but it never needed to be. No, nothing needs to be calories in. You don't need to suffer to stay in shape. That is the message I really want to give people. Please don't suffer. You can be well and fit and healthy. According to Taoist masters, we can attain a healthy physical state and a balance by doing these practices on a daily basis, and you will look and feel absolutely fantastic.
I love that. I mean, that's what we're all here for, that body feel good factor. I'm going to go over to some questions now. So our questions have been, we've had lots in this evening. So Ada asks, could Katie discuss about using the body restorer to remove excess hormone imbalance? Can it help with hormone imbalance in the body?
Well, yes. Okay, that's an interesting question. So yes and no. If I could just answer the question, what does cause a hormonal imbalance? You see, in Chinese medicine, there are 3 golden rules to looking after yourself. Okay, the first one I said at the beginning, which was the free flow of circulation, which is qi and blood. That means energy and blood circulation. Okay, that's numero uno. Right, then purge and nourish. You need to allow and support the body's purging techniques and nourish through with fresh oxygen, nutritious food, good thinking, good ways of life, good practice. And then the third is strengthening the 5 key organs. Now, that's a slightly different thing. The first 2 people are like, oh yeah, I've kind of, yeah, that makes sense. The third, they're like, what? So in our medicine, the body is completely controlled by the 5 key organs. It's like a chessboard, which is the heart, the liver, the lungs, the spleen, and the kidneys. It's just our way of explaining it. And when we're dealing with hormone imbalances, for us, it's rooted in the kidneys. And then it's synthesized by the liver. So what you need to do if you want to get it under control, in conjunction with Western medicine advice, and this is not a substitute for seeing your doctor, can I just point that out? We recommend that you strengthen the organs of the body as part of your daily practice, alongside anything that you're already doing with your doctor. And so I have free fact sheets on my website, which are completely free to download. And you just download the kidney and the liver fact sheet. And that will give you the practices that you need to do to strengthen those organs, which will then start to harmonize the body. And then the hormone imbalances will start to recede. Now, simultaneously to underpinning what's going on under the bonnet of the body, then we apply gua sha to stimulate the circulation and the purge and nourish techniques of the body. So by adding the whole thing together, then you're going to be doing the best possible job to balancing your body for yourself. But I do need to state again, it needs to be done in conjunction with Western medicine advice.
Thank you, Katie. That's great. And can you use the body comb on your stomach? And can it help with stomach fat?
Oh, yes.
Answer, yes.
Yes. Did you see my stomach? Yes, it jolly well can. And what I do, just to show you, so I use 2 in that respect. And in the shower, I'm doing, I'm doing this, like this. That's what you want to do, and go round the belly, like round this bit like this. It's very useful to get 2 of these products. You know, when you're in a spa, you know, they tend to do 2, and it's really worth doing it because you can just go round and round. It will make a visible difference. And honestly, if you just ask anyone in the Qigong, if anyone's on Facebook, we've got this group called Katie's Qigong. And honestly, if you want any opinions on this stuff, there's literally thousands of people there going, yes, 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 you know, literally, because it really does work.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I think I need to get myself another one so I can do a double comb.
Oh yeah.
Are there any benefits for IBS sufferers?
Benefits in terms of what, the Qigong or the tools, or?
Can the tools help with
with IBS.
IBS conditions, yeah.
Yes, they can, because you see, so in Chinese medicine, most problems that we've got, like the low level signs and symptoms, of which IBS is one of those things that you go to the doctor and it's kind of sitting here, it's kind of like it's grumbling along, and you tend to manage it with diet. In our medicine, we would account for that as excess heat. And heat is what's created by us largely being stressed and being unhappy, which I'm afraid modern life does make us quite stressed and unhappy, because I think as a society, things have been so difficult. We've slightly lost the joy of being alive in the mix of everything. And what then happens is, when these things happen and we get hot and bothered and stressed, that heat gets created in the body, and the body doesn't want that heat near these key organs here. So what it tends to do is, you'll either sweat it out, but in the case of IBS people, what tends to happen is the lungs are getting involved, and they're often feeling sort of, overwhelmed. And what happens is that heat and that feeling of overwhelmed gets pushed downwards. And the pairing of the lung in Chinese medicine is the large intestine. So what the body will do is, we'll stick this heat in this big fat tube down at the bottom of the body, hoping to get rid of it. But of course, modern lifestyle, we tend to sit down, we're not getting rid of it. So the first thing to recognize is that this heat is what's causing the problem. Therefore, you can then apply the solution, which is to take the body restorer and first apply it to the lungs and clear the heat directly from where they're being created here, because they're dealing with life, and then go down into the lower area and gua sha all round here, all round, I won't show that on the Telegraph, but your nether region, just get in there, down into those inguinals and down into that kind of lower area. And what will happen is, when you do it, you'll see the red appear. If the body wants to chuck it out, you're using the right tool, and then the red will just simply appear. And then you know that it's coming out. It's really simple. The body just does it. And if it's not doing it, that's okay. It's going to come out somewhere else.
Incredible. I think this might have to be our last question. In terms of stress, and I know a lot of us have been suffering from stress more so than ever in the last 12 months, can the tapper help with stress?
Yes, it can. The reason why is because I love talking about stress. It's one of those kind of coined terms that people think they know what it's all about. And then when you start telling them, they go, oh my God, I didn't realize. The very first thing that happens when you get stressed is the circulation moves from free flowing, which, remember, number one reason why we get sick, to going into the fight or flight mode. So what the body does when you get stressed is it takes the blood away from the peripheral organs, which is the digestion and the skin, and it puts it into the muscles for fight or flight. And then what happens is a whole load of stress hormones get caught up in the mix, and then you've got a problem, because the circulation isn't moving freely. So the first thing you need to do when you want to rectify or reset from that fight or flight mode is to get that circulation back where it was in the first place. And by tapping the body in 1 minute, you're doing just that. You're rectifying the fact that it's gone like this, because the body thinks it's about to run, but we're not running anywhere. We're sat here typing, going, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like me earlier before, because the sound wasn't working. There was my stress response. So tapping is going to rectify that and get that circulation back to where it needs to be. It also supports the lymphatic system. So when you've got a bit of an overdose of stress hormones, you need to support the lymphatics for the second key function, which is purge and nourish. So you need to nourish the blood with fresh oxygen and assist its purging via the lymphatic system, which tapping is also going to do. So it just gets straight back in there. And I think that's the thing to leave people with, that if you want to really master your health and really take this kind of wellness revolution that's going on around us to the full capacity of what's possible to the body, is just understand those three key points, okay? Free flow of qi and blood, purge and nourish, strengthen the 5 key organs. And as long as you're doing that every day, it's a bit like brushing, flossing, and mouthwash. That's what you need to do. And just do it for a couple of minutes every day and notice for yourself. Don't take my word for it, try it.
Amazing. I have to let you know a lovely comment that we've gotten from Gina. She said she's been very emotional since using the tools and the tapper, and presumably this is a normal, obvious reaction.
Now, that's a really beautiful thing to say. Thank you so much for saying that. And the reason why is because what happens in our culture, because we've lost a lot of the traditional practices, which is fine, it's just how things are. we are not shown any longer really how to express our emotions in a healthy way. And we often hold on to things. It's a sort of stiff upper lip culture of sort of like, you know, crack on and get on with it. And you hold on to them. If you're not taught how to express and emote, then things get held in the body. And often what you find is they're held in empty spaces like the lungs, okay? And often what I've discovered when I start helping people with this is that you cry before you laugh. Okay, your body wants to cry. It wants to actually purge it's like squeezing the emotions out of the body. And it's part of the healing process. So it's really important to nurture and love yourself and be really kind to yourself and recognize the suffering that you've no doubt been through. To be that locked up, it's something's hurting. And I think that's one of the great things about the amazing community that came out of me kind of going live at the beginning of the first lockdown is we're all there's a beautiful community that's emerged out of this who are really supportive of one another, because I think one of the conditions that levels the human being and our souls is we do suffer. No one really gets off the hook on that one. I've done chart reading for, you know, the rich and famous and people who you think, oh, their life must be great. And honestly, it's a great leveler, but that doesn't mean we need to carry on suffering. So I think allow the tears to fall, perhaps look at the healing crisis content that's on my website and come into the healing sounds and the daily qigong practice, join the qigong, allow the envelopment of people who've been doing these techniques already and really love them and have been through their journeys too, so that they can help you and share stories, which is what human beings have always done, sitting around fires and talking and then eventually laughing about their suffering.
Oh, I love that. That's so great. Thank you so much for saying that, Gina, because it really sort of sums up that whole kind of mind-body connection, doesn't it? Yeah, it's so
yeah. Thank you, Gina. It's really brave. So it's gonna make me cry again.
I know. It's going to make me cry. I love
you, Gina.
I know. It's so true though, because it's all so connected, and I think that's again why it's so brilliant to have you on, Katie. Because honestly, it's the whole mind-body connection. And, you know, just coming back to my first point, you know, why are we having a Chinese medicine expert on a beauty school, you know, tutorial? And this is why, you know, it's so much beyond just a question of beauty, essentially.
It is. Beauty is deeper than skin deep. That is the truth of the matter. And I think that finally the zeitgeist and the market is starting to kind of wake up and go, oh yeah, so it is. You're never going to feel beautiful. You're never going to look good if you don't feel well.
No, that is absolutely true. Oh gosh, I feel quite emotional now after all
Me
that.
too. I need to do it. I'm going to stop crying. I am literally holding back my tears. Sorry, Gina.
Oh, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Katie. Honestly, you've been
thank you, Sonia.
It's been so great.